Hi, everybody. It's Joe Giardulo. This is SopranoPlanet.com. I make mouthpieces for soprano saxophone. Drop by the website, check it out. Check us out on Facebook, and check us out on our YouTube channel as well. Okay? Hey, listen. So, what do I have here today? And I think this is an important thing for soprano players. I think every saxophone player to see. But I specialize in soprano, so here we are. This is a Selmer S80 C double star mouthpiece, brand new. Just sent to me by a client, wanted me to look it over. Okay. I have to say that I kind of know what I'm going to see 95, 97% of the time. And this one didn't, and this one didn't disappoint me. It has the ubiquitous issues that most mass manufactured soprano mouthpieces have. I'm not trying to pick on Selmer. This is the one that's in the shop. Okay. You can put any brand name pretty much into this. You're going to run into these problems to varying degrees, but almost all the time, to varying degrees, I say. But most of the time, they're problematic. The degree is enough to have a real serious impact on your playing. Okay, so let's talk about this piece first. Selmer C double star, right there on the table. And so that should make it a .049 tip, according to Selmer. So when I measure it up with my gauge, my digital gauge, it tells me the tip is .053. Okay. So what's .053 to Selmer? That's an E. So this C double star is effectively in the box is an E. It's not a C double star. So there's the first thing you need to know. Pay very little attention to the number on the side or the designation on the table. That's just a fact. Okay, so the next thing I do is I check to see if the table is flat. That's a long story. I have videos on why tables should be flat. What I'm going to show you today is what happens when they're not, and specifically what happens when they're not to the degree that this table is not flat. So now we're going to take a second to try to see. I'm going to try to show you what I can see with reflective light, because I polished this table on a piece of paper so that only the areas that contacted the paper would polish up. And so they would reflect the light. They would look lighter. They would look whiter if the light hits them correctly. And I'm going to tell you where to look, because I can't tell as I'm doing this what you can see. But what I can see is that right here in this corner, right here, the paper contacted and it's polished. The same with this corner over here on the other side. Right up here by the end of the facing, or the beginning of the facing, excuse me, on each side, in two different places, by the way, not directly across from each other. And the rest of the table is low. So you're looking for reflective light in these four areas, a little bit along the sides, perhaps just a tad. Let's see if you can see it. I'm going to rotate this in the light, try to go slow until you maybe can catch the right glimpse. Now, as I'm doing this, I can tell you I've already taken a photo of it, and I'm going to insert the photo into this video so that you can see, because on the photo I know for a fact you can see it. But hopefully you can see what I just described. No, I think we're just there. We just pretty much had it. Okay. But in any event, what does this all tell me? It tells me that the reed is not contacting the table over 95%. So less than 5% of the reed is in contact with the table when you lay the reed on it. Okay, so now let's check the facing on this. Where does the facing begin? So I take my glass gauge, and this is going to tell me where the reed would start to come away from the table. And when I do that, I see that the facing is a little crooked. Definitely crooked, but a little compared to some I've seen. It's a little, but it's problematic. More importantly, the facing is very short, especially on the which would be my left side. Okay, this side over here, it's short. Even this side, which is a little longer, is short. Okay, which tells me that it's going to be a little problematic to get low notes out. There'll be a little more recalcitrant. Sound to be a bit brighter, little bit harsher overall. That would be my typical way to describe it. But now we know where the facing begins. But that's not the end of the story. This is a glass gauge. It does not conform to that table. It just sits on wherever it can touch the table, it's touching it. And this would be where your reed would touch it before you put your ligature on. But what happens once you put your ligature on? What happens to the facing? Does it stay the same? Well, if the table was flat, it would. But because the table is this concave, let's see what happens. So we'll replace the glass gauge with the reed. The reed is contacting the table in the same place that it was contacting the table when I had the glass gauge. And you can see it's crooked. I've turned it around now so you see it from the other side. Okay, but now watch what happens. Now, I'm not putting any great pressure on the reed. So the reed is not conforming to the table. But I'm going to make that pressure happen. Now I'm putting that pressure on that a ligature would. And look where this goes. Look where the facing is now. Okay? It's gotten dramatically longer. And if I ease that pressure, this is trapped by the reed. Now the reed has returned to its original state and the reed is gripping my feeler gauge. What's my point? My point is that you have a tip opening that isn't what it says it is. You have a facing curve that is malleable. It's changeable. It's going to be different depending on your ligature. It's going to be different depending on the amount of tightness, the amount of pressure you exert on the reed. It's going to be different depending on the reed that you use, and it's going to behave, and it may change while you're playing. Okay. In other words, there's no stability here. So what played yesterday or what played an hour ago or what played 5 minutes ago may not play at the moment. Okay. This is pretty much what I see all the time. So if you've got a problem, look to your table. Okay. Now let me also say this. There are people out there who will tell you or claim that this concavity is a design, not a bug. Okay. Well, there's not a mouthpiece manufacturer I know who does the two things that would make it a feature. Okay. One would be to make that claim that all of our mouthpieces have a concavity. That's the first claim. But they need to make the second claim. The second claim is, and that concavity is consistent in our mouthpieces because it's important where that concavity is and how it behaves. There's not a manufacturer out there that does that. And that should tell you that it's nonsense. Now, that doesn't mean you can't play a mouthpiece that has a concave table, and it doesn't mean that you might not like it. If you're playing a mouthpiece that likes it, why are you watching me? Okay. But if you're having difficulties, I'm telling you the source of a lot of difficulties for soprano players, and that is bad pieces. Tables that are bad, facings that are strange, facings that are changeable, that are undependable. Hey, this is Joe Giardulo, SopranoPlanet.com. I apologize to Selmer. Selmer's not, Selmer is a great company, but they put these in the boxes and they sell them. So do all the rest. Okay? Get your mouthpiece checked if you're having a problem. Contact me. I check mouthpieces for free. It just costs you the postage. And I'll tell you what I find. If you want to do something about it, that's different. But I can check it. I can tell you what your facing is, what your tip is, and whether your table is flat. And I can also give you an educated assessment of how I think it will play and what problems it might be presenting for you. You don't even have to tell me. I'll tell you, and you see if it matches up with your experience. Anyway, Joe Giardulo, SopranoPlanet.com. Be well, stay safe. Drop by the website. Check out our YouTube channel. Make sure you like us. Be well. I'll see you.